What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Level With You show. I am your host. My name is Wiley Olmstead, and this week I am joined by Shiny Charmander Master Anthony Dort, the Sub-Zero hero Kenny Castro.
Ooh, I like that name. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And first team Rocket Leaguer Tyler Hadley.
First teen Rocket Leaguer? What?
First teen.
It's like, you know, you're on the All-Star team.
Oh.
Yeah, you're not the second
you
team.
You said Rocket League, but Team Rocket.
Team Rocket League.
Went into my head.
Oh, my bad. I clearly just thought of these names 5 minutes ago and wrote them on the pad because I didn't want to use my nicknames from the previous 2 weeks.
Nah, that's good. You're good.
Forgive
We're
me.
keeping it fresh.
Yeah, exactly.
Keeping it light.
All right. So this is a weekly video game podcast where the four of us get together and talk about, you guessed it, video games. You can catch us on Twitch all throughout the week. We've got Madden Mondays going on. Kenny's been killing it with that. You can challenge us and play us Sunday evenings in Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. We had another successful Super Smash Sunday the other night. And Anthony's doing all types of Dragon Ball and art and cool stuff. And Tyler's doing his usual JRPG stuff.
I'm trying to figure out what else to stream as well. So if anybody wants to let us know throughout the chat today in the episode what you want me to stream, I just picked up Division 2. I don't know what else to stream. You know, I was thinking, because I am horrible at it, and I was hoping you would jump in the chat, maybe trying my hand at like Dark Souls 3.
Ooh,
Do it.
Never beaten or played any of these games. I think I play it for like 15 mintes and I'm like, fuck it.
That'll be fun to watch.
So maybe I'll stream it and get help from everybody else. Give me pointers in the chat, you know?
That would be fun. I mean, I would commend you for your courage in undertaking such a task. Just because, like, not that the games are so insanely hard, they are pretty damn hard, but like having to learn the mechanics and having people watching you as doing it,
But it puts that spotlight on you, and I feel like I do good under pressure.
Okay.
I would recommend playing Kingdom Hearts Remind. I've been watching some people play through all 13 organization members.
Those look hard.
And those look pretty intense.
Okay.
And I think that would be very interesting and topical.
Okay, so I might just do that then. Maybe I'll go install that tonight, and I'll get ready to stream that later this week.
Word.
Because there's no way you're going to be Yuzora. Because I saw somebody fighting him, and he looks nuts.
Oh, you fight him? Spoilers! Ah! I want to play that though really bad.
Now I want to fight Jozora to beat him.
Did you pick that up?
Remind not yet, but I get paid Thursday.
Word. Same.
Remind.
Friday.
Coming for you. Looks like we just made a decision right on the air.
Yeah.
I also want to know, Anthony, what are you going to start drawing on the Level With You stream?
Well,
When they update their terms of service.
exactly. When they allow me to start putting nipples on screen, then we can do that.
Bathing suits only.
I got some new ideas coming in. I got a fresh new set of pins I'm working out with Top Chi right now. So just finished up the most current set. So got a couple ideas floating around. So I might throw a couple sketches up this coming week. Get a jump on the work. Maybe just doodle around a bit.
You know, we also need
but
we also need some sub emotes designed.
I could do that. I like faces.
That could be
I like
cool.
emotes.
Okay. We could use the David Bowie one we have in the can.
Well, that's an alert.
Oh, okay.
We need some emotes.
So these just emotes like the faces?
It can be faces. It can be words. It can be
Be like,
whatever we
cool.
want.
Rad.
We'll talk about it.
Splat. Sizzler.
Stay level.
Stay level. Caboose.
Yeah, exactly.
Hee-haw.
It could be like, ooh, Wendy's.
You Wendy's. Yeah, I was gonna say it was like maybe our catchphrase is like, and then who could forget the classic?
Who could forget?
Who could forget?
Just a little bit more of housekeeping. We do have a tournament that you can join. Smash.gg. Further details in the description of this video. We are hosting a tournament April 2nd, downtown Springfield. Aiming to have 64 players. We're going to have food and drink. It's going to be really cool. We're going to have real professional production, and we are looking forward to it. And you should be too, especially if you like that Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, which I know so many of you do. All right, guys. So we got so much news to talk about this week. I mean, we're not going to get to it right now. I do want to know, Anthony. I always see you with these giant cups of Dunkin' Donuts, and I got to know what's your flavor. What's the stuff in there?
Oh boy, that's a good one. It's what like it's a seasonal thing. So it's like, you know, I like my fall anime. I like my summer anime. I like right now we got I don't know, I said winter flavor. So they got a Girl Scout cookie. So today it's coconut caramel. Coconut caramel, just cream. Because it gets a little too sweet if you put sugar in there too. And I also hate when they don't like mix it at all. They just put it all in there, and it's just all at the bottom. So you put your straw in. You know, you're thirsty, a little overzealous.
suck it all up.
Just get all the sugar, all the sauce.
All the sugar juice.
No, it's just like, I'm like, oh god, it's a great way to start the
In
day.
the back of the throat.
Oh yeah, it's just in the teeth too. Just, you can taste it. It's like, oh god. It's like I know I'm putting that in my body, but I'd rather it when it's a little more watered down than just chunky.
Okay.
But it's good. Like coconut caramel right now, and then thin mint, which is really good.
Not bad.
It's like kind of a mocha, but I messed it up last week, and apparently when I say it in the morning, I'm not awake enough, so it sounds like cinnamon. So the lady gave me cinnamon one week. That's not what I was expecting.
I can see the confusion there.
I was like, can I have thin mint coffee? Because it sounds like cinnamon. I was like, shit.
And you're a caramel mocha swirl guy, Tyler?
Oh, you betcha.
Oh yeah.
Every time?
Caramel mocha black.
It's black?
Yep, no cream, no sugar. There's enough sugar just in the caramel mocha stuff.
See, I was debating doing that today too.
Yeah, I mean that's what I would think.
Just doing black, but like because even just
that's too not sweet enough.
I don't drink coffee.
Oh, okay.
I'm like,
but you'll down a 16-ounce Red Bull, no problem. But you won't drink.
That was one time.
That was one time.
That was don't judge me.
How'd you sleep that night?
That's okay.
I slept fine, like 3 a.m. like I normally do.
Okay, well.
Honestly, I think I'm just gonna crash and fail one day. Like I live off of just natural energy and 4 hours of sleep.
Everybody, give your energy to Kenny. You gotta channel your energy, everybody.
That's how I get to. That's how I get to work every single day. I channel a spirit ball in the shower.
To wake up their kids. Mom, give me your energy. Everybody, go wake up your parents. I know they're sleeping.
I'm like, fuck, another day of work. I'm like, when's the nukes coming?
I'm ready for Fallout.
Well, if anybody wants to know, I take just a little bit of cream and no sugar.
There you go.
And what's the flavor?
No flavor.
Just regular coffee.
Just regular coffee.
Like original blend.
Coffee flavored coffee.
That's usually what I do at home.
This is why you lose to me in Mortal Kombat, Wiley.
I'm a man of refined taste.
No, I do. That's what I do at home. Like a Keurig, or if I have like a coffee out anywhere, I love just like a little cream, and maybe like 1 cube of sugar, just like a straight black coffee.
Heard.
Or maybe just 1 cube of sugar and just straight black.
Who has cubes of sugars now?
I do. Jesus. We have it in my house. We got a little cube. I was surprised too. Trust me. I didn't even know they made cubes of sugar still.
Apparently they do.
Yeah. So I just had 1 cube of sugar, and that's my coffee at home. But I didn't even know they had cubes still.
Something charming about a cube of sugar.
There is. It's you just lick it.
I you know what? I would try and just throw it in my mouth and bite into it. So that's why cubes of sugar not safe in my household. I would be like,
away from me.
I would be like, maybe I need a shot of sugar. Cube.
There you go. Gotta get that blood pressure up.
Just straight cube sugar.
Man, these Tums taste great.
Upset stomach, sugar.
Coat it.
All right, so we got so much news to get through this week that I didn't want to rush the what we've been playing, and I thought that we should start off with getting through that so we can kind of mellow out and have a nice denouement to our podcast where we talk about the games that we've been playing this week.
That denouement. I thought you were thinking like the jeans territory. I was like denouement. I was like, denouement every day.
I ordered those denims off of Wish. Denouement.
And we'll, experiment with this going forward. I'd be interested to hear if anyone wants to comment on what you think goes better at the front end of the show. If you want us to hear about what we've been playing or about what's happening in the gaming industry. This week we're going gaming industry. And we are going to start with...
He's sleeping over there.
It's
Cruisin
For
4A. Newsin.
All right, that was a weird delivery, Tyler, but I kind of liked it. I don't know. It's like a different direction.
I was going with like a Tim and Eric kind of style intro.
It was a very alternative, very Adult Swim.
All right, so this first one comes straight from blog.bioware.com. Now, there's this game that came out last year. It's called Anthem. Their response should give you an indication on how it was received. I'm sure you know yourself. So this is the blog post from Casey Hudson, who's kind of the head of gaming at BioWare. Hey everyone, 1 year ago we were preparing to launch Anthem, a game that represented a big leap into new territory for us as a studio. It was an exhilarating and terrifying experience to go out to the world with something new and different, and we are grateful to all the players who have come along with us on the journey. It has been a thrill for us to see the creativity of our players in designing customized javelins and watching them master Anthem's flying and fighting gameplay. I am so proud of the work the team has put into this game, and at the same time, there's so much more that we and you would have wanted from it. Over the last year, the team has worked hard to improve the stability, performance, and general quality of life while delivering 3 seasons of new content and features. We have also heard your feedback that Anthem needs a more satisfying loot experience, better long-term progression, and a more fulfilling endgame. So we recognize that there's still more fundamental work to be done to bring out the full potential of the experience, and it will require a more substantial reinvention than an update or expansion.
Ooh.
Over the coming months, we will be focusing on a longer-term redesign of the experience, specifically working to reinvent the core gameplay loop with clear goals, motivating challenges, and progression with meaningful rewards, while preserving the fun and flying of fighting in a vast science fantasy setting. And to do that properly, we'll be doing something we'd like to have done more of the first time around, giving a focused team the time and test to iterate, focusing on gameplay first. In the meantime, we will continue to run the current version of Anthem, but move away from full seasons as the team works toward the future of Anthem. We'll keep the game going with events, some refreshes, and revisiting past seasonal and Cataclysm content, starting with our anniversary towards the end of the month. Creating new worlds is central to our studio mission, but it's not easy. Sometimes we get it right, sometimes we miss. What keeps us going is the support from players like you. Your feedback gives us guidance on how we can improve, and your passion inspires us with the courage to create. I look forward to working together with your involvement and feedback towards the best possible future for Anthem. Casey. Wow. All right, so what do we think of this statement? Are we taking him at his word?
I'd hope so. It kind of sounds like they're trying to do what they did with what Square did with Final Fantasy 14 Online when that first came out and just fucking tanked and bombed. They're like, all right, okay, we're gonna take the game back. I mean, they totally shut it off though. They killed the game, they reinvented everything, and it came out amazing the second time around. But it was pulled, I think, for maybe a year or 2 years after launch, or not even a year after. But I mean, it launched, didn't do well for a couple months, and then they pulled it. And I think it was a year or 2 years after they relaunched it. But I'd hope. I mean, it sounds like the whole first run of the game was just it was a producer or a EA's kind of calling the shots, and it wasn't what the game designers wanted. It was what the company wanted.
Perhaps. I mean,
they feel a lot of regret, obviously, and they're like, "Oh man, this sucks."
Yeah, I mean, I think that the game came out to, the type. It's supposed to be the type of game that you're supposed to come back to constantly. It was supposed to be a Destiny competitor,
live service, right?
Exactly. And it had a very, not a great selection of weapons to grind for. And there was this whole thing about the first gun of the game is actually just as powerful as the other guns in the game, so all the progression is just meaningless anyway.
Ooh, that's sad.
And then from my understanding, the roadmap wasn't really even that clear as well. Of the content roadmap, post launch,
right,
was very clear, and they didn't really stick to much of it. I did play the game recently, free on EA Access.
Nice.
It plays decent.
I mean, it's got the trappings there.
Yeah.
Boring at times. I'm okay, I'm not really invested in the story right here. But decent gameplay, the shooting and all, and
it looks beautiful.
The gameplay style, it was decent. I could see them going real No Man's Sky-ish and revamping it, resurrecting it, and giving it some life. Will people go in and give it a shot?
I will. Fix it.
That's the question. I think they don't. I think just keep it as low as the price as possible, and just revamp it and try and see if you could add in paid content after you revamp it with a free update. You have to first provide a huge free update,
totally,
before you then try to drop
paid copies and
paid content,
which is crazy. You mentioned No Man's Sky, and that's the thing that I've heard on all the other podcasts. Will it have its No Man's Sky moment where it comes back? Everybody loves an underdog. Blah blah blah. They still have not charged a single dime for additional content for No Man's Sky, which is crazy. That game is had 3 major updates now, so I don't think EA is going to be having that. I could see them allowing for 1 for sure.
I really hope they would.
I don't mean to interrupt you. That name is yellow for me, Tyler. Who is that disrespecting me right now?
I can't tell. It's a Daffin Goat SOS MD.
Oh my
Can't
god!
even tell.
It sounds like somebody I smacked around in Madden, most likely.
Oh damn!
What are they saying?
It says my Knicks suck, and that I need to get my weight up in Super Smash Brothers. It sounds like a jilted loser.
Oh,
You need to get your weight up? Like, was that like...
I need to get better.
Oh, see, I don't even know the terms.
But I'm pretty sure I already know who it is.
Just tell me to play K. Rool. I'll teach you a good K. Rool strategy. You know the gun?
Last I checked, I beat him in Smash as well. We got a split 1-1, and I smacked him around in Madden, so he shouldn't talk. Let's keep the stories going, Wiley. Sorry about that.
Let's keep it going.
Sorry for that interruption.
All right, so we'll see what comes of Anthem. I did pick it up for $5, still in the packaging, because I knew that this was happening in the works.
For what system?
PS4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll pick it up too.
Okay, cool.
What'd you get for $5?
I think GameStop.
Shoot.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know if they still are running that, but I know you're gonna be able to get it cheap.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
Division 2, and I mean I'm gonna have something
Division
nice
2
switching it
also
up. Yeah, Division
$5.
2.
Yeah, Division 2, $3, getting a huge update within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Man, I love when games keep failing, so we can get these free good updates, cheap, and the bargain gamer plays.
our next story. The coronavirus is having an effect on Switch production.
With or without Lime.
What? Oh, I haven't enough of those jokes.
I know.
It's a serious business.
I know, this sucks.
Yeah. Okay.
It's spooky.
It is spooky. So this comes from GameSpot. Production and shipping of the Nintendo Switch, Joy-Con controllers, and other Nintendo peripherals like Ring Fit Adventure will be delayed due to the outbreak of the new coronavirus. In a move the company says is unavoidable. Nintendo notes that this will only have an impact on the domestic Japanese market, but Daniel Ahmed, a senior analyst at games market research firm Nikko Partners, told CNBC that it could become a problem in the U.S. and other markets too. China is important for manufacturing of some game hardware, phones, and other components, and we believe that the entire supply chain of manufactured goods will be impacted, much more than just games, Ahmed explained. When looking at games consoles specifically, we note that 96% of video game consoles imported to the U.S. in 2018 were produced in China. The coronavirus has spread across the world and claimed the lives of over 500 people. It's now actually 1,000.
Yeah.
Aside from its effect on Nintendo's production and shipping, the virus has also impacted video games in other ways. Sales of Plague Inc., the real-time strategy game about creating a deadly pathogen, recently spiked as people purchased the game trying to gain a better understanding of how viruses can spread. I don't know if that was their main...
I don't think that was their main...
educational purposes.
No. They was just like, I'm going to create coronavirus 2.
Yeah. Blizzard was also forced to cancel multiple Overwatch League events in China, and organizers of the Taipei Game Show postponed the annual show until later this year. There was also a PUBG tournament that was scheduled for Germany. Mm-hmm. That had to be pushed back. So
wow, as far as Germany, huh?
Yeah, PUBG Corporation revealed over the weekend it will postpone PGS Berlin, the PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds esports event scheduled for April.
Wow.
So it's starting to get a little freaky out there.
I honestly think it's a lot worse than they're letting on to. I think that it's a lot worse than what we've been told because, I mean, they're just keeping it not as like insane or telling us as much as it actually is to keep the public out of a panic. Mm-hmm. In a way, because you know how people freak out over like, oh man, there's gonna be a blizzard at Thursday, but I haven't gone grocery shopping. You know, everybody floods the supermarket on Wednesday.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, we're humans. It's understandable. But I mean, you know, I'd hope that we're. Is this a cold? Like, is coronavirus? Like,
it's a flu. It's a type of flu, and to be honest, I don't know what the symptoms are other than you eventually can die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is it? Is it like there's so much of an outbreak in these other countries that they just can't ship anything because the shipment could be contaminated with this virus?
Yeah.
That's insane.
They closed down the whole pavilion in the Toy Fair in New York that's coming up in a couple weeks, the China Pavilion, which is huge because a lot of stuff like is made in China. Like I was looking at a lot of stuff recently, just noticing it offhand, like looking at things like little toys or something I had, or like figurines. Everything's made in China, so it's like that'll be a big problem if that hopefully after the season passes.
I mean, I'm not sure, Tyler, but I'm pretty sure that they have some cities of millions of people quarantined right now.
That's
nice. I know that the reason I asked you what was your cruise ship is that a lot of them are updating their policies right now. Nobody that's been in mainland China is like allowed on in the last 30 days is allowed on like any of the 4 major cruise companies right now.
And there have been cruises that have been quarantined and weren't able to come back because of the virus. I mean,
out at sea?
Yeah, they're still out there, dude.
Wow.
Crazy.
Holy crap!
Confined to their rooms in a lot of cases.
That
can't even. Can you imagine though, like not being able to leave a cruise ship room? Those rooms are tiny.
They're small. I would freak out. That's like claustrophobia. Plus, if you have to like, hopefully the plumbing all works there still. But just like, I feel like that'd be even worse. That's just like an incubator then if you're stuck in those rooms. Mm-hmm. Oh man, that's like Resident Evil shit.
I'll bring my Switch.
Yeah,
maybe. Like I got a Ring Fit Adventure. Anyone want to
buy
it?
A hot commodity.
It's a Corona-free Ring Fit Adventure.
Where's the lime? You gotta come on, man.
Yeah, I mean everybody's joking about this virus, and like I see it in memes and everything. And to be honest, like I get the Corona, haha, it's a beer, it's funny, but like it's a disease that's killing people and that is like spreading a alarming rate that is kind of scary. So maybe lay off the jokes. That's kind of how I feel about it right now.
Yeah, well, it gets blown up to a point. I just joke about it because that's the only way I know how to deal with like being comfortable. Like
uncomfortable situations.
Understandable.
Yeah.
And now,
so wash your hands, everybody.
Yeah, yes. Wash your damn hands, please. And maybe don't go to China for just a little while.
Just a little bit.
Keep eating their delicious food.
Yes.
Outerworlds Switch delayed due to virus. Yeah, you thought I was done? No.
We're back.
Take-Two has delayed the Outerworlds on the Nintendo Switch due to the coronavirus. Subsidiary Private Division took to Twitter to say the virus, which has now spread to more than 25 countries, has forced the closure of the Chinese porting studio Virtuous. Oof. To clarify, the team at Virtuous is okay, but their office has remained closed during this time. Private Division said in a follow-up tweet, "We're working with the team to determine an updated development timeline, and we'll share more regarding a new launch date shortly." Obsidian's sci-fi role-playing game launched in October 2019 for PC, PS4, and Xbox One, with the Nintendo Switch version initially due out on March 6th. It is now due out some point after the current fiscal year, which ends March 31st. Yeah, so like this shit ain't no joke. It's affecting the games industry, and like meaning people are like, there's rumblings about it affecting the launch of PS5 and Xbox Series X.
Wow. I mean, totally could happen if things get worse. I mean, anything could really happen.
Yeah.
Your whole life can change in a day. So can the gaming stratosphere, I'd say.
For sure. I mean, I hope they get it. I know they got the World Health Organization involved now. They were like trying to keep it in-house and have a deal with Chinese, but now they're, I think they're getting assistance from the CDC, World Health Organization as well. So like, I am currently almost at the very end of this post-apocalyptic book I've been reading called The Stand, written by Stephen King, which is about a virus that kills 99% of the human population.
Shit.
You just heard I'm on chapter like 72 or 73. It's a 47-hour audiobook. I have 3 hours left. I've been listening to it for like 2 months. And
it was intense. Like the last minute that I walked in on you reading in your car, I was like, "Ooh," or that was being read.
Yeah, yeah. I literally, you came in at pretty much the climax of the book.
Yep.
So, you spoiled it, but I'm sure you didn't know what the hell was happening.
Skip the 71 hours.
So yeah, another Outer Worlds related news. Moving on to our next story, and I want this to kind of lead into a discussion about Xbox Game Pass. So it's now sold 2 million copies. That does not include the installs from Game Pass. So this is Take-Two, who was the publisher of the Outer Worlds. This is his take on whether or not it was a good move to have the Outer Worlds on the service. On the subject of subscription services like Xbox Game Pass, Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick said it's an ongoing conversation at the company regarding how much the company will support programs like Xbox Game Pass and others. He said that, as a general rule, Take-Two simply wants to release games where the consumer is, and that could include subscription libraries. At the same time, he also said subscription services might be better suited for older titles as a way to give them a second lease on life. We think subscription offerings are probably better suited to the catalog, but we're willing to take experimental chances when it makes sense. It's early days for all these platforms. So I know that Kenny and I are the two that use Game Pass quite a bit. It's almost 40 to 50% of my gaming of the past several months, I would say.
Yeah, it's a good chunk of mine.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been trying out games that I don't think I would have picked up on a regular.
And which is the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'll give that a shot. It's not costing me anything extra. But like, I think it's interesting, and I think that this is something that the industry as a whole will have to deal with next generation. You see services like Spotify and Netflix sort of monopolizing the mind share of the consumers because of their accessibility and because of how affordable it is. And I wonder if we're still going to be able to get, I don't have any doubts in the short term about, big AAA games, but like if you can get Halo, the brand new Halo, without having to spend an extra dime, then you have the competitor coming out with, the next Horizon Zero Dawn, and they're charging $60. You might go the Halo route and save your $60 for something else, even if you were borderline on the fence. And I'm just like, I don't know if the subscription model is enough to like support the industry. So that's one thing that worries me about it.
So I think that it's an option. I don't think it'll be the full-on norm to support the industry. You're gonna get people that don't want to pay monthly subscription, that are completely against spending $15 a month and would rather pick up their $60 game because they're like, oh, I only play 3 titles a year. I play NBA 2K, Call of Duty, and whatever else. They're gonna drop $180 for that year and their monthly service fee, or the year, or $60 for the PS Plus, or Gold for Xbox. You're gonna get those players.
Yeah.
You'll get people who like building their collections and also don't trust these streaming services. Like, well, I'm paying for the streaming service. I want to be able to go back to this game if I want to play it for the 35th time. Well, what if it leaves the catalog? Because the games aren't there forever. They come and go. So it's gonna have its balance. I think we're just gonna see, some people like more. I think it's more geared towards the casual gamers, people who are like, I don't want to spend $60, but I want a catalog of games, almost Netflix style, that I could pick from, and kind of is not tailored to just one person. There's multiple categories: first-person shooters, third-person shooters, puzzle games, RPGs. It has just a little array of everything to suit anybody at just $10 a month, or $15 if you go with the ultimate.
True, but you and I are big proponents of it, and we are not casual gamers.
We're not.
Yeah, so like it is making me, I will say, buy less games a little bit. Like not like a drastic amount. Like I bought Kentucky Route Zero for $25, which I'm going to talk about later in the show. And I'm happy to support a game like that. But I was like, dang, I haven't actually bought a game in like several weeks now. I've still been playing all this new stuff, and it's because of Game Pass. And I feel like, well, is this going to come to Game Pass? I don't know. So like,
gives you that kind of like doubt, but
exactly, which hasn't burned me yet. There hasn't been, actually, no, there has. I bought Bloodstained, and then like 3 weeks later, it was on Game Pass.
Game Pass. At least for myself, I have bought way less games. Been experimenting with games that I wouldn't have tried before, like I said. But there is still, I don't have a Game Pass on the PS4. So there is exclusives. Like I said, this weekend I bought Ni no Kuni 2 for like $10. I had $10 credit at GameStop, and I was like, it's $20.
Yeah, that's a great price.
I just bought it for $12.
Hell
yeah. I just bought it at Turn It Up.
Yeah, that's
look at that.
Ago.
So I just picked it up. I'm like,
still haven't played it.
Yeah, I started it, maybe 5 hours in so far.
Okay.
Nothing too crazy, but I was like, I need a new JRPG in my life, but I wasn't just ready to dive fully into it. So I was like, I have it there. It's there. It's in my collection. My collection for my PS4 is looking nice. I like my physical games for the PS4.
Same.
I think it's something about the blue case that I like better than the green cases for the Xbox.
Yeah, well, and I think that we are also a unique case because we all have all the 3 systems,
yes.
And so we can have Xbox be the digital console and PS4 be the this is my marquee console with all my games. Look at my beautiful collection, which we all 3 are pretty big into collecting various things, especially this guy over here.
I'll let you figure it out. I'll leave a little mystery this week to Amiibo Shelf. It's what I have. It's a whole bunch. You should check it out. If you want to see pictures, I'll post them.
Yeah, I want a tour, and I want a video on the level with you YouTube channel.
We'll make it like my crib kind of thing, and then I'll have an actual crib. My Amiibo's in the crib.
Yeah, that sounds like it was well spent.
I feel like on this subject, I feel like I'm hearing a couple different things from you guys. Firstly, I feel like your definition of new is kind of like a new game is like 5 months. It came out 5 months ago or something like that.
You are correct there. Yeah.
So in that case, I feel like, I'm kind of thinking of it of how like movies are released in theaters, like a new game is dropping, but then after a certain amount of time, then it might get picked up by one of these subscription catalogs. So I think just like the definition of new for this sort of subscription based model and like when games are actually picked up, like that's when games are like when games aren't on only on rare occasions. Games are being like dropped initially on like Games Pass and
same day release as physical as it is Game Pass.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I mean, you are correct that I was wrong about Children of Morta and Plague Tale. Those did come out a few months ago, but Microsoft is committed to making their first party titles day and date on Game Pass for no additional charge.
Yep.
So all the Forzas, all the Halos, certain
all the Gears when they come out. So Gears Tactics when it comes out, it'll be day one.
True. Flight Simulator.
Yep. But we have another one coming out soon. Bleeding Edge.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Yeah. Yep. So Bleeding Edge is another one that's a first party one. That'll be Game Pass exclusive. Actually, the beta for that is this weekend, and the only way to access the beta is downloading it through the Game Pass.
Okay. Yeah, I think I actually saw that notification last night, and I might have already downloaded it.
Yeah, same here. So, all their first party titles are going to be day of release on Game Pass.
So I wonder, like, going forward, because that's such a hardcore move, and I remember when they announced it, it was like, wow, megaton. That's what I think can be industry shaking going forward, especially if the Series X comes out and doesn't get clobbered by the PS5 like the PS4 clobbered the Xbox One. So,
and I truly believe that a lot of this is going. I think this is going to lead into another story I saw on the outline, is that Game Pass is part of their bigger picture in regards to how they're who they're competing against. And it's all about the cloud, and Game Pass is going to be something you're going to be able to play on your phone. And
xCloud
with xCloud, and just be able to play it. And they even right now, if you go to the Microsoft store, they sell gaming clips that connect to that you hook up your phone and connect to your Xbox controller.
Oh yeah. Wow.
So they're already making their moves to solidify xCloud and Game Pass as one big thing. That you'll be able to play your Game Pass games on your brand new phone anywhere.
That leads us into our next story. Philly Spence, aka Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, says Google and Amazon are the real competition for Xbox. This comes from an outlet called Protocol, and then I also took some from The Verge. Microsoft's head of gaming and Xbox, Phil Spencer, has revealed that the company sees Amazon and Google as its main competition for the future. Speaking in an interview with newly launched technology publication Protocol, Spencer dismisses Sony and Nintendo's ability to create a cloud infrastructure that will challenge Microsoft, Google, or Amazon. When you talk about Nintendo and Sony, we have a ton of respect for them. But we see Amazon and Google as the main competitors going forward, says Spencer. That's not to disrespect Nintendo and Sony, but the traditional gaming companies are somewhat out of position. I guess they could try to recreate Azure, but we've invested tens of billions of dollars in the cloud over the years. Microsoft has been realigning its gaming efforts for a future far beyond the Xbox console. The software giant's big effort now involves reaching billions of players around the world with cloud. Everybody turn the page. Gaming. Google has already launched its Stadia service, and Microsoft is trialing its own xCloud streaming service that is set to launch fully later this year. Spencer has previously discussed the threat of Amazon and Google as competitors, but not in such clear terms. He also previously stated that Microsoft's gaming business isn't how many consoles you sell, and he acknowledges this further by noting that Microsoft isn't interested in getting into a new future format war with Nintendo and Sony. I don't want to be in a fight over format wars with those guys while Amazon and Google are focusing on how to get gaming to 7 billion people around the world, says Spencer in the Protocol interview. Ultimately, that's the goal.
It's cool that they're less focused on like a console war kind of area now, rather than like, all right, we all like playing video games, we all like making games. How can we get these games out, to more people with, these our new competitors?
Yeah. Honestly, I think that it's just realizing that we as gamers, right, the console gamers, we don't amount for the most revenue when it comes to games per se. It's the mobile gamers like Anthony. Who spend endless dollars on Candy Crush, endless dollars on all these things because they're playing it on their phone. They don't have to. They're already paying for their phone monthly. They don't got to buy a $300 console, $400 console, $500 console. How do you get those people that are gaming already with these little weeb games playing your games? And I think that's where Xbox is going. And I've tried the xCloud. xCloud, I've played Madden matches on it. Like I actually played some Gears on it. It's not bad, actually. It's pretty good. I even played it down here in Tyler's basement without connecting to its internet, just running off of my data on T-Mobile, and it was still pretty well.
Wow.
So it's the future. I don't think they will abandon the Xbox consoles, but his thinking is just bigger than the consoles. It's just, how do we get our games to everyone, not just the console players? So it's big, it's bold.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I was a little confused where you were going with that when you first started, but then you brought it all together. I was like, oh, okay, these mobile gamers are going to be the ones that like can now just attach an Xbox controller, or not. Maybe they'll think of
Apple Arcade kind of stuff like that. Now that's throwing more titles on there. You can just the Game Pass of the phone.
True. Yeah, and I've heard good things about that Apple Arcade.
It looks. I was actually looking at it today. So some of those titles don't look half bad. The only problem would be my space on my phone. Be a limitation.
You know what I think is going to happen?
What?
I think that they're going to release their own phone that kind of like slips into a Xbox controller, kind of like a sort of like a Switch type system,
Or like a Dreamcast.
Yeah, the memory, the VMUs, the virtual memory units.
Basically.
Those things are sick, except they make the worst noises.
I think that would be probably like the direction that they want to go. That way, those mobile gamers aren't having to walk around with a whole separate controller. They can just kind of like slip their phone into a kind of more compact, kind of designed type thing, and then just have their like screen and right in the middle, like as they play.
I mean, that's a pretty pie in the sky prediction, but I like it.
We'll see.
As long as it's better than the N-Gage, I don't care.
I think they'll upgrade the xCloud to the point where they will have certain games that require the controller, right? Then in some games we'll have the on-screen, little controller, like Call of Duty Mobile, like where you just have the bottom section of the phone, where bottom left section where the pad, and you just move around with it, and you shoot with the buttons that are on the top right or bottom left or bottom right as well.
Yeah, what they'll have, what I'm picturing in my mind is whenever xCloud does launch and it's incorporated with Game Pass and people are doing it on the phones, they'll have a mobile compatible section and the controller required section.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they'll divide it like that, and they'll thrive. I actually think they are gonna really thrive, because the way they're experimenting and just trialing xCloud, they want to know what carrier you have. They want to know, so they know you're like they're gathering all this data depending on what carrier you're using, what area you're from, so they see what carriers are kind of like lacking in speed or aren't able to fully like use up what xCloud is trying to do in that area. So they'll know in the East Coast Verizon is doing better with xCloud than T-Mobile or AT&T, So it's not just not the people just trying it, and for the bugs and the errors, they're gathering all the other data, the data we don't pay attention to. So I think it'll be good. I don't think it's gonna fall short like Stadia. I think it's gonna come out full force when it drops later this year.
And Stadia, at this point, we don't know what their game is. Like they end up joining forces and just using their technology to help. I don't know. Like Google's really stumbled out the gate with Stadia. I think nobody would argue that.
Yep.
They've got the money. Clearly, they're Google to invest. I don't know if they have the know-how or the proper people working for them that know how to speak to gamers. Did you guys see that some guy was like, well, it's up to the game publishers to announce games?
Nope.
Which, true, but like, you're supposed to maybe make a phone call and ask them to do it.
I'm like, hey, can you please push this? You mean not,
Yeah.
I just automatically do it.
But and then Amazon, they're even richer, or who knows, but
yeah.
It
needs a little more structure.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, interesting that he would say that. And, I know that Sony and Microsoft have already somewhat partnered on streaming technology. We had a story on that a long time ago. So, yeah, interesting future. We got a lot to look forward to in 2020.
Speaking of 2020, this next story with System Shock 3 team let go. Game probably on hold indefinitely via Games Chronicle.
Yeah, you got it.
Shows here that System Shock 3 development team has been let go. Been claimed as several senior leads confirmed that they've departed developer Otherside Entertainment. System Shock 3's writer and director, lead programmer, design director, and more have all confirmed their exit from Otherside in the past 5 months, following the company's year-long search for a new publisher. But according to one anonymous developer, the entire team is now no longer employed by Otherside. In February 2019, System Shock 3's then publisher, Starbreeze, which was experiencing financial troubles, sold the publishing rights for the game back to the developer in a deal which saw Starbreeze recoup the finances it had invested in development. The game's creative director, Warren Spector, told VGC in May of the same year that talks were progressing with a lot of interested publishers. He claimed the other side had enough capital to fund itself for quite a while and didn't rule out the studio self-publishing the game itself if it had to. However, it's since emerged that at least a dozen senior System Shock 3 developers have left the studio in the past 5 months. That includes System Shock 3's writer and director, senior designer, lead programmer, QA lead, senior environment artist, and more. This week, the game's design director, Chase Jones, a longtime collaborator of Spector's, also revealed that he has left Otherside on his LinkedIn profile. In December 2019, the studio's former community manager, Sam, oh god, I'm gonna butcher this, Langhocht, confirmed there had been layoffs at the studio and expressed a worry for its future. And a quote, "I know people are concerned about the state of the studio. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried as well," Langhocht said.
Talk about a blunt quote there.
At least he's honest.
Yeah. So then it ends, having played the internal System Shock 3 demo, I knew the Austin team worked their asses off and made some stunning progress in the past couple of months. It hurts to see many of these developers out of a job on a project they worked so hard on.
That sucks.
It does suck, man.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's kind of going the same flow as like Duke Nukem Forever, which was like tossed around, going through development hell, encountered all these problems, and then like a decade later finally got released to just like scathing reviews, was like $20 in a couple months.
Yeah, I mean, System Shock, if you're not familiar, is kind of the pioneer in the
Deus Ex, right?
That genre. What's the word I'm looking for? Immersive sim, where you can kind of enter an area and have a variety of ways to complete your objective. Go through the event here, confront this person here, sneak around, and just sort of role playing in a 3D environment in real time. And I think that this System Shock 2 is the sort of spiritual precursor to BioShock. A lot of people that worked on that also worked on BioShock, if I'm not mistaken, and the influence is sort of wears it on its sleeve. So there was a lot of high hopes for this game, and it now seems to be kind of indefinitely put on hold as the studio appears to be closing. So hats off to those guys. Best of luck to them. I know that it's not easy to lose your job, and especially on something that that you've been working really hard on. Yeah,
with all this time and effort, and just to have it, your funding get a myriad of reasons, like your funding gets cut, not enough people, it's probably maybe a structure change within the company. But
and our final story before we get into what we've been playing, we're going in reverse this week. Bring it back now, y'all. Is just the info on Season 2 of Call of Duty, which is now live. We've been waiting for an update to this here Call of Duty, and it is an update indeed. Early reports are suggesting that this update is around 50 gigabytes. Holy crap.
That's big.
It's so big. I remember that time I was complaining about not being able to play all night, and that was less than 20. So I am not playing tonight. I will boot up the PS4, get the download started, then switch over to some Children of Morta.
There you go.
Oh, you don't have your PS4 to auto install?
Dude, I think I do, and like it just
doesn't
work.
Don't you have to have it on like rest mode though?
I always have it on rest mode.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll double check that. That's a good point, Kenny.
Yeah.
So some new details about the Season 2. It's going to introduce 2 regular multiplayer maps. There's also a ground war map. Those are the really big ones. There's a couple new gunfight maps. Those are really small ones. We're also going to get the Operator, which is he's Rust. He's the skull mask looking guy from Modern Warfare 2. A couple new guns. Looks like one's an assault rifle called the Graw, and a submachine gun called the Striker. And then there's a couple new maps. I already said that. Sorry, I didn't write down what the names of the maps were, but
it's okay. I mean, they're all kind of
I know one of them. I forget the name, but maybe Tyler can help me out.
One of them is from Modern Warfare 2.
It's the spiritual successor to the one with Shipment.
Oh,
whichever one that one is. You know what I'm talking about, Tyler?
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the name.
You can't think of the name, right?
It's the same map, just with even higher obstacles everywhere.
Isn't it like Shipyard or something?
Oh, big towers.
Is it? It might be
Shipyard. Is that the one with all the shipping containers?
I think it is Shipyard.
Is it?
I think so.
Okay, so it might be that. I know it's the one that in the following Modern Warfare was the successor to, Shipment. Everybody loved that map, so I guess they're bringing it back for this one. I kind of fell off of season 1, even though I was enjoying it for a little bit when I was doing 2v2s. I feel like we should get into it, do some 2v2s or 3v3s.
Yeah, if you're trying to stream one night, just let me know.
Sounds perfect. We could get into it.
Can you still throw snowballs?
No, I don't think not anymore right now, right?
I won't play.
I never knew you could.
Yeah, there was one. There was the one map, the winter version of it. You could pick up snowballs, and a yellow snowball was an instant kill.
Oh, wow.
Once you hit somebody with it.
I'm calling my mom.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh,
actually, on the Instagram account, I do have a video of somebody getting hit with a snowball.
That's what I remember. Yeah, because I was like, wait, can't you throw
with
snowballs?
a yellow one?
No, a regular one, but their health was already low and got hit in the back, and they were like, ugh.
So is this new character adding? Is it like a skin, or it's like you can choose your character?
It pretty
now?
much is just a skin,
Yes.
and then you can customize them with stuff you unlock, by either leveling up your tiers or completing missions, quote unquote.
That's cool. I like that stuff. And
yeah, like they're not like operators like in Siege where they have drastically different powers or anything.
Right. It's just kind of a cosmetic.
Yeah, mainly. And then we actually do have some additional Call of Duty related news. So Call of Duty 2020 was announced in a strange way at it's the end of the fiscal year. They're giving their reports to the investors, and that's how it happened this time. We hope you were sitting. So this is kind of funny from Push Square, pushsquare.com. We hope you were sitting down when you read the headline, which is Call of Duty 2020 announced. Yes, Call of Duty will return in the year 2020. The annual franchise remains annual, and Activision will be maintaining its track record for another year. Who could have predicted this? The publisher confirms the next installment in its ever-popular shooter franchise via its latest investors call, reports Charlie Intel. The game, which we'll name Call of Duty 2020 for now, will arrive this fall, as usual. According to the fan site, Activision did not confirm which of its studios will be leading development on the project. If it were to follow its usual cycle, next up would be Sledgehammer Games, but it seems like that's not the case. Interestingly, rumors circulated last year that Call of Duty 2020 will be handled primarily by Treyarch, with Sledgehammer and Raven Studios in support roles. These same rumors suggested the game could be Black Ops 5 and set during the Cold War. And now, I related this back to a story from May of 2019, which was before even Modern Warfare had come out. This is when Jason Schreier at Kotaku reported, next year's Call of Duty has gone through a major upheaval as publisher Activision informed developers this week that studios Raven and Sledgehammer, which had now been leading the project, will no longer be in charge. Instead, according to 3 people familiar with ongoings of the companies, Treyarch will lead development on Black Ops in 2020. It's a significant shift for Activision's massive first-year shooter franchise, which is one of the most lucrative video game series on the planet. Every fall for the past 15 years, Activision has put out a new Call of Duty game, supported by a stable of different developers who rotated duties as required. Since 2012, Activision has followed a 3-year cycle for its 3 lead studios. Wow.
Woo. Woo. I can't believe that 15 years. Talk about annual releases. It's like, well, didn't Assassin's Creed fall off too?
Eat it up every single year.
I mean, they're very well made games, and people love shooting stuff. That's what our Americans are all about. That's what
we don't understand strand type games. We like first person shooters.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Man.
But anyway, I think there was something that I didn't quite get in here. But one of the things that they say to the investors is, we don't think this one will sell as well as Modern Warfare. So, like, what does that mean? And then it's also strange that they're not willing to confirm who the lead developer is, because, like, is this one going to come out and they're like, they know it's not going to be good? They're like skeptical, trying to lower expectations.
Maybe I think they're doing this one. Modern Warfare is just doing so well that I don't think they could catch the spark again with the next one.
Especially if they're trying to keep it the live services thing. That's a little hard when you have the other one right around the corner.
And by all means, the rumored battle royale hasn't even dropped yet.
True.
And we're ending the first quarter of the year, and so it'll drop, and that's gonna be the big rage. So we're gonna head into almost the release of the new Call of Duty while battle royale is still fresh.
Maybe they can make it so the battle royale is its own thing in both games.
Possibly.
I mean, that would be the smart thing to do.
Or maybe they're just all this 2021 is just campaign itself. Like maybe it's just own campaign disc, and multiplayer and everything's the same. With just if you have the campaign disc, added content.
I mean, that would be a first. I mean, they did do multiplayer only with Black Ops 4, so it's not the most unheard of thing. But, their bread and butter is online, so I would be surprised if that were the case. But, this is also going to be the first one that you assume is going to be on PS5 and Xbox Series X. And when those systems launched, we got Ghosts, which was cross-platform.
Imagine it's Ghost 2.
That's literally, I was like, is that why it's not going to sell as well? Because it's the least popular franchise. Infinite Warfare 2.
Oh my god. That was the one they tried to make like Titanfall, right?
Yeah, that was the most spacey of them all. And great campaign. It really, it starred Kit Harington from Game of Thrones, who's Jon Snow.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it had the series has phenomenal motion capture. It has for years now. The cutscenes look great. The story was actually pretty engaging. I love the floating in space parts. I thought it was really fun to zero gravity zip lining and shooting and stuff. I thought it was pretty neat. But
hey man, I played Observation. I know how space traffic works.
Oh yeah. Similar. Yeah. So what does it mean? It's all speculation at this point. Sort of a non-story. We knew that this was coming, but just the little surrounding things, especially around who's the developer going to be, made me think it was noteworthy. So it's been a big news week, and I don't know. Should we take a little bullshit break?
Yeah, you know me. I'm always talking about bullshit.
A quick BS break.
Yeah. I've been on my bullshit Pokemon kick. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon games.
Oh yeah?
Started playing the new raids in Sword and Shield because they updated with some new Gigantamax Pokemon. So I'm looking out for those. Caught a Kingler. Gigantamax Kingler. Gigantamax. What's that fairy one? It's the...
Clefairy?
Clefairy. I wish. That'd be really cool if they had a big Clefairy that kind of looked like Gengar. That's a good idea. But there's it's like a dark fairy type guy. He's big and lanky.
I don't know. No one cares.
He's pretty cool. I'm glad I caught him. He was rare before this, and then now there's that. And I started playing a real-time strategy Pokemon game that my good friend Stuart had. Shout out to Stuart. Had gotten me for my birthday a couple of years ago called Pokemon Conquest, and that takes place in feudal Japan. And it's very different. What you do is you have your little warlords or your guys, and then you have the Pokemon. And so you go out, and your goal is to just conquer all the different castles or cities around. And you do this through not normal Pokemon combat, but through Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy Tactic combat.
Who made this game? It's like an illegal game. It must be.
No, it's totally a Nintendo DS. I don't remember the company that made it. But
Japan only?
No, it's English.
What?
Yeah.
I've never heard of this Pokemon Conquest in
it's been out for
feudal
a while.
Japan.
Yeah, it's pretty good actually. It's great if you like RTS games. You like Pokemon. It's sick. You can capture wild Pokemon if you bond with them enough in the wild. It's really cool.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's
Damn.
sick.
Well, where does it pull its Pokemons from? Does it
just it goes up to black and white, so 5th generation.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, pretty cool. I did not know that existed.
Yeah, it's definitely recommend checking it out.
I just actually pre-ordered Mystery Dungeon.
Yeah,
for the Switch.
I'm watching a lot of preview stuff on Mystery Dungeon. I was never into them before, but now I'm getting a little more and more.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
Okay.
Yeah, the art style looks great.
Well, Anthony, I thought we were going to just have a little discourse, but you got us right into what we've been playing.
I mean, we can still discourse. I mean, we usually play discourse. That's all I can think of at the moment.
You are all good, my friend. So you got the new Temtem, which is all the rage up on the Steam charts. Tell me about it. The new catch 'em all type.
It's just Pokemon. It's super nice. It's beautiful. I gotta say, that was probably the biggest thing when I booted it up. I was like, animations are amazing. You can customize your own little Temtem trainer guy. Your rival's a big dickhead, which is great. It's I was telling you guys before the show, it's a nice switch up from a Hop or anybody who's been a recent rival in Let's Go, where it's hey, it's whatever, man. You can beat me, it's fine. I like losing, and here's 25 potions. We're best friends, so whatever. Bye. This kid's just I have the better Temtem than you. You suck. I'm gonna go follow you around still and go with the professor, and then he just whines a lot.
And I heard on another podcast that if you actually lose to him, that you don't get to fight again. It's just next time you see him, he's like, oh yeah, I kicked your ass last time.
Oh wow, I haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay.
I gotta make sure I don't lose, because you're supposed to lose the first time you fight him.
Oh really?
You fight him at the beginning and he just whoops you, and the professor's like, oh wow, he's got a really strong Temtem, so here you go, here's another free second one. And you're like, oh cool.
Okay.
So is the premise of this, you're trying to be the very best and catch them all?
I really don't know what the premise is. It's still early access, which has me a little worried, because it's Well, right when you boot up the game, it's like, this is an unfinished product, so this is not a complete game. And I was like, oh, what did I just pay $35 for then?
Well, I wonder if it'll be 60 once it's fully out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably not.
I hope it, like, they grandfather in the people that, like, bought the early access.
That's how it mostly happens, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what are the mechanics?
They have plans to bring it to the Switch, too.
That's in, like, a year or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have, like, I guess a year plan, or in a year or so, to hopefully port it to Switch, and I guess with the full release. So
do you know if it was a Kickstarter game?
I think it was.
Sounds like it.
Yep. Yeah. But it's cool. It's all the battles are 2-on-2 rather than the Pokemon's like 1-on-1.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else pretty much, they have the type advantage charts just like Pokemon. There's like 3 or 4 different types. Battles 2-on-2. They can evolve after a while like Pokemon.
How many Temtem are there?
I don't know. To be honest, I haven't looked.
Oh.
But I gotta check it out. I'm really excited to see.
We'll have to come back next week once you've dove in a little further and you got some Temtem adventures under your belt.
I will. I think I'm gonna go home and play it tonight because I haven't played it since Sunday. Nah, I'm getting the Temtem itch.
Have you does this game incorporate PvP more quickly than the Pokemon games?
I'm pretty sure because I've seen it's like basically the big selling point for it was like an online monster catching. It was like an MMO focus because you can just see people running around. And,
okay. I mean, it's a great concept. It's something that people have wanted Nintendo to do for ever.
Yeah, since the first games. I'm really excited to see how the PvP works, but I'm sure I already see people walking around with because your monsters follow you, which is great. Just like in Heart Gold and Soul Silver or Let's Go, the first Pokemon in your party, or first, in this case, Temtem in your party follows you around.
Okay, neat.
So that's pretty cool.
I was going to be like, what, do you have 6 of them following you? That's a little...
That'd be ridiculous. Yeah. But you get a little surfboard. I saw people surfing around. I'm like, how do you get a surfboard? I mean, it's cool because it's like I'm going into this new franchise with like no knowledge at all. So I'm not like, oh, I need surf. I need this.
Clear eyes, full hearts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, since we're good, I'll probably jump into it, and because I want to try out like what the co-op actually is like, because you can like battle alongside other players.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
So like one person uses 1 Temtem each, and then you're out fighting people. I'm not really sure how that's incorporated, but
that's interesting. I definitely want to get more into it. Look, because it's absolutely beautiful. The animations are great. Everything's really polished. Like animations are awesome. You look. I just can't, like, I keep saying animation, but, like, the way that your character moves is so fluid, and it's a little weird. My only thing was, like, when you go into the grass, like in Pokemon, you have the tall grass there where you encounter, you can't see any, like, monsters in the overworld, but the way they have it animated when you walk into the grass, it kind of looks like you're in water. Like, when you move or go in a circle, the grass, it just bends with you, kind of like you're going in a swimming pool, like you're wading around. It was really, like, I thought it was cool. It was a little weird, but I kind of like the effect. I was like, whoa, it's like watery grass.
Word. Speaking of waiting around, something that people have been waiting around for a very long time is the final episode of Kentucky Route Zero. So Kentucky Route Zero is a game that originally released with episode 1 back in 2013. It was kickstarted in 2011. The final episode just was released a couple weeks ago, I believe on January 28th, and it came to all consoles, Switch included, and now is being packaged in one TV edition. And it is it's got a very minimalist sort of cell shaded indie aesthetic that you see in a lot of those type of games. I will say it's very confident in its art style, and it can be pretty striking at times because it's not afraid to play with really up close camera angles that you weren't expecting, or just to sort of really starkly change the visual style. So a lot of people say this game has very David Lynchian vibes, who's the director of the TV show Twin Peaks, as well as movies like Eraserhead and Mulholland Drive, where it's sort of a bit of a surreal feeling where you feel like something extraordinary can happen and characters may or may not react in a believably like surprised way. Like it's just sort of like, I don't know, something will come out of left field, and it's just it creates a sense of unpredictability in situations that might actually be originally mundane. So like the premise of the game, you're a truck driver who is on a mission to deliver this antique that you don't even know what it is. You work for this company called Lizette's Antiques, and you're supposed to deliver them to a place on 5 Dogwood Drive or something. And all the people that you're talking to are saying, oh, like the only way you can get there is through the Route Zero. And you get to the Route Zero by some mysterious fashion. And then you're just moving throughout the world and encountering different characters, and you know, it's very text heavy. There's like minutes and minutes of sometimes of just reading and picking dialogue options. You'll get other people introduced into your party, and you can have them respond instead of the main character that you start as, Conrad, which can really like change the flow of where the conversation goes. Like, it can feel a little bit tedious, but there are times where it feels so sort of profound. I don't know if I can go quite profound. Like, it's gotten me almost there. Like there's a lot of themes of like being in debt and what that can do to a person, of losing your livelihood, of being a slave to a corporate entity type of thing. So there's a lot of those sort of themes and metaphors, and episode 3 really goes into some crazy places where I just finished episode 3, so there's 5 episodes. 1 only took me about an hour, 2 about 2 hours, and 3 about 3 hours. 3 took a while, especially because of one part where you're literally practically playing a full-on text adventure game within a text adventure game,
like entering commands and everything.
Yeah. Wow. The game has tons of commands like that, like turn right, or look, pick up the flashlight, or go back outside, or something like that.
Is the whole game just a text novel, or you can actually see like there's visual aid to it, like pictures? And
there's total visual. I mean, like, you play as a character, you are walking around. There are 3D environments. I mean, albeit you move very slowly. Like, there's a section in episode 2 early on where it's all in an office building, and it's, he's up on the 5th floor, go talk to him. Like, she must have like left for lunch, go check on the 2nd floor.
It sounds like my work there.
And then like, so this is a minor spoiler. It really is a slight spoiler, but like, so there's this office building. The way that they present it to you is you can see straight through the walls. So you see the people working on the 1st floor doing this, the 2nd floor doing that, and on the 3rd floor it's just a bunch of bears.
That's cool. I like that.
Just a bunch of bears looking around. Like, you go in and walk around, because like, you're on the elevator. Of course, the 1st floor I go to is just labeled bears. And I walk around.
See, my definition of bears is very different from the regular definition of bears.
What do you mean?
Like how I refer to it as bears. Like, I like bears the animal, but then there's my bears.
Oh, okay.
It's poop. So I say going poop.
Okay.
I gotta go make bears.
Okay, but no, these were literal bears. And
so not just big things of poop rolling. It was an actual like an animal bear.
Yeah, and like several of them just on the 3rd floor of this office building, and that's just the sort of thing that you might encounter at any random time, just to sort of spice up the flavor a little bit.
Can you go into the room with the bears?
Yeah, you can, and they just stare at you.
That's good. So they're not like.
No, there's no fail state in this game as far as I know, except for one, and that's within that game that I was talking about, because of the game within a game. I am pretty excited to play the rest. Like, the story is progressing in a way that it's sort of it's about the journey. It's not about delivering this package, and I don't want to give away anything else about the story because it is unique, and you learn things about the main character Conrad, about that he has a problem with drinking, that he had a tragic thing happen that sort of led him on this life. You learn about his interesting relationship with his boss. Like, was there something there before something happened? And then the other characters are cool too. Like, you meet this punk rocker character named Junebug. There's this great sequence where you go to a performance of theirs, and as the performance is going, you are selecting the lyrics. And she'll sing them, and it'll actually sound like a cohesive song no matter what you choose.
That's cool.
It's really neat. And it's like something completely out of nowhere that like the game just will have moments that feel like, oh wow, that's a totally, like, they feel set PC even though they're low key.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I like. Is it? In my head, I'm envisioning just like a Telltale game, but more in depth, like a Walking Dead kind of episodic.
Well, a lot less cinematic. Well, a lot less, I guess, high production value, because it's very indie aesthetic, and like, it's much weirder than those games. Like,
is it like Children of Morta style, like pixel arty?
No, it's more like harsh. Like, yeah, I'm trying to think of a game to compare it to.
Kind of like that. Well, not everything. There's something that's like not high detailed, but it is still 3D.
Yeah, but it's not like pixelated. And there are 3D environments here. Like, you are moving from left to right and top and down.
I'll just have to check it out.
Yeah, you just have to check it out. It's a
check it
really
out.
unique game. It's hard to describe. I've never played anything like it.
All the reviews, because you were talking about it last week, I looked into it a little bit, and that's what they said. It's not really like it's a game, but it's not like a typical game. It's more about you just said the journey than the destination of getting to the end of the game. It's like your experience along the way. Enjoy what you're playing rather than like, oh, I need to beat the game.
Yeah, exactly. And like the game, you naturally progress in a way. Even when you feel like you might be lost, like it tends to gently nudge you in the right direction to where I have not been stuck for longer than a few minutes, and that was just because I didn't realize that I could walk up this stairway that I could walk up. So yeah, that's Kentucky Route Zero. You can buy it now, complete edition. Pretty exciting that it finally is out. I mean, I can't imagine for the people that have been waiting like years for each release. I'm glad that I get to all play it at once. So yeah. How about you, Kenny? You been playing anything?
I've been playing a couple things actually. I did start trying out Children of Morta. I completed, because I wanted to try something different, and I remembered you had mentioned that you played it. You talked about it a little bit, and it's on Game Pass. What Remains of Either Finch, and I played right through that game, and wow, what a beautiful story.
Yeah, is that on Game Pass?
Yeah, that's on Game Pass.
Okay.
Yeah, beautiful story, and I was like, holy crap, like this is amazing. And then, so I played through that. Then I was like, let me try out. There's not too much I could say to that. Anybody wants to really real in depth about it, go back. I think it was like episode 5. You went through it. I don't think I could say anything better than what you said then. Like it really was like, I was like, wow, like he was right on point with it. Like just going through every family member story and seeing how exaggerated their death was written by Edie. Was amazing, because she's the one that chronicled all their deaths. Spoiler, but it was really like wow, like out there, and I was like,
So after you played the game, did you go watch my video of it?
No, because I watched all the videos, so I kind of like
you remembered,
kind of for the gist of it, I kind of remember, and I was like, wow, like he was on point, and it was great. And even in text message, I remember there was even a text message like, you guys should play what Remains of Either Finch. It was amazing. Yeah,
it was.
And it really was. Like,
what was your favorite chapter?
Barbara.
Is that the comic book one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Barbara.
Yeah, that was probably my second or third.
That one, I really, truly enjoyed it. I enjoyed the narration it gave me like a childhood vibe of, what's that show with the creepy like skeleton that would tell the stories, Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it gave me like a Tales from the Crypt vibe during that chapter, and I was like, wow, like this is really well done. Every chapter almost gave you such a different vibe and almost like a slightly difference in gameplay and storytelling as well. How you relived each person's, death. And I thought within those 5 hours they did so much and did it well that I was like, I wish I would have just bought the game.
Yeah, to support it, right? Yeah, I mean, my personal favorite was the cannery one.
Yes, that one really develops very well.
That was the most emotional one, I thought.
Yeah, extremely sad.
Yeah,
like like this guy just wanted to escape his reality, and ended up cutting his head off because of it.
Ooh.
Well, I don't remember that. Did he?
Yeah.
Don't spoil.
I'm sorry. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers. But yes, that one's definitely super sad.
It's an old game. It's an old game. You can spoil it.
I'm sorry. Well, I could get.
It's a new game to Game Pass. We want people to play the shit we talk about.
Definitely check it out. I think the biggest thing in it, I'm not spoiling. It has a nice little twist, and you'll enjoy it. I definitely recommend it. I think the playthrough shouldn't last more than 4 to 5 hours. Especially if you're not rushing through it. If you're just enjoying it, 4 to 5 hours is right on point.
It's a great palate cleanser.
It is, and that's what I needed. I needed a palate cleanser between games. So I could just refresh and say, what's the next genre I want to jump into?
Yeah, something you really want to dig into, which is what I have been doing with Children of Morta.
Yes, and I can see why you're digging it. It's that roguelike vibe. I was playing it. It's nice. The combat's good. Has its, I don't know, like I didn't play it enough to notice it. But are some of the spawns of some of the ability, like the temporary like map abilities, are those random? Like
yeah, they're random.
They're very random, right? So my first playthrough won't be the same as yours, right? Like what I pick up out of those chests and things.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, those change from run to run.
Perfect.
Not even from playthrough to playthrough. Like for every run, everything will be a little bit mishmashed around. I really got into this game this week. I had just started playing it last week. Now I'm at the final. I believe it's the final level. I just had and I'm about 13 hours in or so. Like the game is not super long, but I mean for this, I think it's the perfect length. I mean, I have one of my characters at max level now. Still has a few skills that I can upgrade, but the skill level is reached, so I have all the perks. One of the great things about this game is that how much it encourages you to play as the 6 members of the Bergson family as you're trying to, crawl through these dungeons, because each time you reach level 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20, I believe, everybody gets a perk. Like, no matter if it's a character that you don't like that much, like, everybody gets a little bit better. So that, and also, if you, like, die too much of one character, you'll have fatigue, and you'll start with, like, 40% less health. So you're pretty much forced to try out somebody else.
Good way to switch it up.
Yeah, and I talked about how I was a little frustrated earlier when I first started playing it, is that, like, it felt like you're running away too much, because there's these giant hordes of enemies. It gets better. Like it starts a little bit like that, but you will get to a point where you're doing more damage, and you have more abilities at your disposal, to where it's not too much of an issue. Like the game is a great difficulty as well. Like it's challenging, but it's not like super frustrating. Most bosses take a couple tries, but like you really have to be sitting up and concentrating, because you just had this like 20-minute run. You finally get to the boss. Like you don't want to mess it up. So like every time I go in, like, okay, am I going in this as a learning experience, or am I really going to try and taking it out? And so like usually I'll start, learn the patterns, maybe eke out a victory, but usually have to go back again, and then I'll go back in, and usually there's only been, the boss I was stuck on longest was the first boss. So that just shows you like is the progression. Like once you start leveling up, things get a little bit easier. The combat gets way more dynamic, and you start finding more things in your runs to shake things up. I remember I said that it wasn't Binding of Isaac level last week. It's still not, but it gets to a point where it's each run does still feel somewhat unique, 12, 13 hours in. So I'm actually like sort of sad about the idea of it being over, because it is such like an addictive loop, that I might try to get my first ever 1,000 gamer score with this.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got 21 platinum trophies. No 1,000 gamer scores as far as I know. So
that's the Xbox Platinum trophy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The diamond.
The diamond in the rough.
Honestly, it's a game that I see myself kind of just trying and just giving it a shot and seeing how far I could get, and how frustrated I could get. Before I'm gonna try it and not give up on it. If it gets too frustrating, and just play through it. I tend to sometimes with some roguelites just give up after a little bit.
Dude, if we all got together and like had 2 TVs, some beers, and played this game for a few hours, that would be epic.
Like that? I could that'd be fucking epic.
Well,
let's make it happen.
It is 2-player couch co-op.
Let's stop talking about it and just do it.
Yeah. Or do it with The Division.
No.
Okay. What?
I feel like this one would be a good one. Like if we decided to kind of go in and just do some content for the YouTube channel with this one. I'd definitely give it a shot. I feel like I want to see what happens when you throw a second user in there. Like does it amp the difficulty up?
It does. I actually did play a little bit of 2-player with somebody, and it does. Their health bars are a little bit heavier, and I will say you got to have some communication with your partner, because you don't want them going in a direction that you're not going, because then the camera's just going to keep on panning out.
Oh, it doesn't split screen off. It just kind of
no, it's all one screen.
Oh boy,
like it's all isometric. And it works. And I think just as long as you have somebody that you're
good to communicate with.
Yeah, exactly. So like,
you got to be. It's kind of like playing Left 4 Dead in a roguelike sense, because you got to be. I remember my experiences with Left 4 Dead had to be very coordinated, oriented. Be like, hey, don't shoot that guy. Hey, watch out, the witch is there. Like, oh god, I'm sorry you got puked on. We can help you out, or get to the safe room. I don't care. We respawn at the safe room. It was a fun game. I haven't played that in a long time.
So yeah, I also wrapped up Plague Tale. Still think it's a really good game, but I was so done with it by the time it was over. To be honest, I was like, these rats, man. These rats.
Too many rats.
I was really getting frustrated.
It's quick to die. It's quick to die because the moment they get you, it's like almost no chance to like back off from it,
right?
Or survive or anything like that.
And then they incorporate archers into the final section. Holy shit, that frustrated me.
Yeah.
Like, and then it just kind of becomes
the last fight. Did you have to retry it?
The last fight, yeah, I think I had to retry it like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, it won't spoil it. It's pretty cool.
It definitely was cool. I had to retry it a couple times just because fucking rats.
Yeah, the rat. Me. It's like it is. The rats have a big finale. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just whenever you guys the way you guys are talking about it in my head, I'm imagining the swirl of the. What is it? The like base Heartless from Kingdom Hearts 3 and that little swirl, the shadow.
Pretty much.
Shadow Tower, yeah. But rats.
Like kind of
Yeah.
similar.
That was a good guess.
Wow. The final fight is exactly kind of Plague Tale's version of that fight.
Wow, that's wild. I was gonna say, do you have a key? Do you have a big key you can hit it with or anything?
No, we will say no more.
Okay,
but I still recommend the game for sure. I don't want to sound down on it. I think it was a solid experience. Definitely worth playing, especially if you're a fan of the genre. Like, if you like story-driven third-person games, this will definitely scratch that itch. All right, I think that may be coming to the close of our show.
I want to talk about one more thing for a little bit. So, Dreams for the PlayStation 4 drops on Friday, Valentine's Day.
Out this week.
It's been a long time. Announced in 2013.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you picking it up, Tyler?
I was thinking about it. I mean, I would think it'd be really cool just to meddle around in that, see what other people are creating, maybe try my hand in creating something. I really have no idea how like the interface looks, and I just thought it would be a pretty cool and interesting thing to try out. Definitely opportunities that we could go out there and stream some content. Maybe we have some friends or viewers or anybody that are making things in Dreams that we could try out and kind of like do little reviews of.
Is it like a Little Big Planet type of thing? Or is it like you make your own game?
It is a make your own game, but it's a vastly bigger scale than Little Big Planet. Like you can literally do any type of game.
Wow.
It seems ridiculously in depth and somewhat accessible from what I've heard. Like,
check this out.
Yeah, I mean, I think I hope the game is a big success and that it finds the streaming audience that it so kind of is begging for based on its premise. We'll see. I mean, the game.
Yeah, the developers themselves, the developers of Dreams, they seem really invested in just the community aspect of the game. Like they've had tons of meetups and they've had a lot of communication with the game developers and like the players, and they're really trying to make sure that is at the forefront of this game. The support for that community.
Cool. Unlike Super Mario Maker 2.
Yeah.
Which, basically.
Yeah, which will has had a somewhat of a dodgy relationship with Nintendo and its creators. I mean, I really hope that it's a big thing, and yeah, I'm down to get that with you, game share it, and hopefully that the campaign is good.
You know what I think killed Mario Maker 2? They took out amiibos. They dropped amiibo support. I think that helped kill it.
I don't know if it's quite dead, but
that helped like not. I don't know why they wouldn't though, because Switch can do amiibos. Why would you take it out? They had so many costumes.
Yeah, that was not a smart move. Maybe they'll bring it back for a big update.
Hopefully we get updates.
These big updates can add and remove all types of things. So.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning in to the Level With You show. It has been our pleasure to serve you. You can watch the video live on twitch.tv/levelwithyou every Tuesday evening, starting at about 6:30. Find the video up on YouTube the following day, as well as on podcast services everywhere. If you'd like to leave us any suggestions, comments, or desires for the channel, please do so in the comment section below. Until next time, stay level.
Have a good night, and don't forget to sign up for the tournament at Smash GG. If you want to join, we'd love to have you.
Indeed.
I got nothing for you.